CI Hyderabad. Sure, ma'am.
All the presenters, my request is that please take 10 minutes for presentation, and when we will over with the presentations, then we will have the questionnaire answer session together, and I will declare the floor is open, okay? So that we can then manage our time. Please take 10 minutes.
Okay, the timekeeper, kindly keep your time ready. We are starting off with the presentations. Yeah, we can start, right?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Surabhi Mishra. I am a Senior Research Associate at the Administrative Staff College of India, Hyderabad, and I'm also a PhD scholar at the Department of Business Management. One second. I'm sorry. I'm also a PhD scholar at the Department of Business Management, University of Calcutta. My topic for today is what fuels innovative work behavior in startup employees. So to give you a little background, innovation has become center stage. We all know it. There are many researchers who are focusing now on innovation now, given that consumers are changing their preferences in the blink of an eye, and technological advancement happening at breakneck speeds. So many researchers have focused on not only the innovative spirit and the capabilities of the founders of organizations, but also the employees of the organization. So creativity and innovative work behavior, thus it is important, and therefore the purpose of my research is to explore what are the factors that influence the innovative work behavior, especially in the startup context. Why startup context is because while digging into the literature on factors influencing innovative work behavior, we get a lot of factors, but the range is varied, the sectors are varied. Researchers have focused on defense, education, hospitality, whatnot, MNCs, government, but not much is observed in the startup sector, which is a kind of a subsector in the SME sector. So that is why I wanted to explore whether what holds for the other sectors holds for the startups as well. So while digging into the literature, first is the definition of innovative work behavior. It is usually defined as the process through which an employee converts a creative idea into an implementable action. So we can also say that creativity is the antecedent to innovative work behavior. Now, as I was talking about literature review, many researchers have found out factors that are relevant for influencing innovative work behavior. One such, and the most common that construct that comes up a lot, is entrepreneurial orientation. Entrepreneurial orientation is a strategic management concept. It is actually a firm level construct which defines the posture of a firm in doing the innovation. It consists of three subsets. It consists of innovation, proactiveness, and risk-taking capability of the firm. Not the founder of the firm, but the firm as a whole. Now, second interlinked concept that comes about is entrepreneurial leadership. Entrepreneurial leadership, by the term, as we can understand, is a quality of a leader in doing the innovation. So it arrives at the intersection of entrepreneurship and leadership. And in literature, it is found that entrepreneurial leadership directly impacts the innovative work, the entrepreneurial orientation, which in turn impacts the innovative work behavior. So for example, if I am a founder of a company and I am an entrepreneurial leader, and I can, in a few years, in the course of time, make the firm that I'm working in entrepreneurially oriented. That is what it means. So entrepreneurial leadership is the precursor to entrepreneurial orientation. Researchers have also focused that the relationship between creativity and innovative work behavior should be explored further because as I was mentioning earlier, innovative work behavior starts when the creativity kind of ends. So your idea has to be implementable in order for you to be called as somebody who has innovative work behavior. So, and there are some other factors that influence the innovative work behavior, like psychological empowerment, employee engagement, self-efficacy, also creative self-efficacy, and other things, as you can see. The reason for me choosing these factors, I've chosen how entrepreneurial orientation, entrepreneurial leadership, creativity, and region, how these affect the innovative work behavior in startup employees. The reason I've taken region also into context is because region, although literature provides that it does not necessarily impact the innovative behavior of employees in any organization, but since we are talking about startups, I thought it will be nice to take region into context because we know startups across India are not evenly successful because there are some startup hubs in the south of India or the west of India that are more successful. For example, the Silicon Valley in Bangalore or the Pharma Hub in Telangana or that automobile in Maharashtra. So that is the reason I've taken region into context, and the other three. Or do not. The methodology that I've adopted is a quantitative approach. We collected data from a structured self-administered questionnaire and used validated scales from previous researchers. We've used for the data analysis SPSS 21.0 and did a multiple regression analysis to see if the predictors have any influence on the innovative work behavior or not. And before the regression, certain assumption tests were also conducted, like multicollinearity and homoscedasticity and normality. Our sample consists of 76 startups from all across India because, as I said, I wanted to see if region has any influence on the innovative work behavior or not. So we've categorized the sample into Northeast, West, South, and respondents were selected using purposive sampling because we wanted to be sure we have relevant startups into consideration. Our results reveal, first a descriptive statistics was done, then we did a correlation to see whether the variables are not too highly correlated so that it doesn't lead to any error in our regression model. So correlation revealed that only innovative work behavior is highly correlated with entrepreneurial orientation and no other factor, not even region. And the other assumption tests hold good. There were no multicollinearity issues. The histogram was normally distributed. And the other assumptions also hold. Our regression also validated, the results were same as the correlation. The innovative work behavior
2 minutes left.
Okay. Innovative work behavior is only, EO is the only predictor of innovative work behavior and the other three factors are not. Coming to the discussion, which is the most part, I think the first hypothesis holds good that EO, because literature provides EO is a direct influencer of IWB. So what holds good for SMEs and the hospitality sector and the education sector also holds for the startup sector, which is good, which is a good finding that we have. But we find that startups, though they are geographically varied, the region plays no role in the innovative work behavior of employees, and also the entrepreneurial leader's attitude doesn't play any role in the innovative work behavior of employees. So that being said, as I was mentioning earlier in my introduction slides, creativity is said and both creativity and entrepreneurial orientation for that matter, they do not really directly affect innovative work behavior. Had we taken mediators or moderators into consideration, maybe our results would have changed. And also when we did the regression, the entrepreneurial orientation alone explained 99.4% of the variation in the innovative work behavior. So maybe if we do a follow-up research and add more variables to see if still entrepreneurial orientation is the primary driver of innovative work behavior or not, that can be a good follow-up research. Thank you. I hope I'm on time.
Yes, yes. Thank you, should we?
Up next, we have Mr. Aniruddha Bhaumik from Techno India for the second speaker for the day. The time limit is 10 minutes per speaker.
Very good afternoon to all of you. And myself, Dr. Aniruddha Bhaumik, and along with me, my co-authors, Professor Shantanu Chakraborty, and my another co-author, Kankana, is also there. So Kankana is our student, and this is a collaborative effort of this paper. And the topic is value chain analysis and sustainable supply chain management in the... Okay. The topic is value chain analysis and sustainable supply chain management in the cut flower, enhancing the productivity of the floricultural entrepreneur. Before starting off the topic, I just want to give a few ideas about this. We have worked in a very niche market, that is a florist, which includes the farmers, which includes the wholesalers, the retailers, the commissioning agents, and all those things. And we have already worked on this topic almost 1 year ago to see how the things have changed. So before going in depth, let's give some little bit idea. The India floriculture sector has a significant growth, and West Bengal is one of the major floricultural hub. Though the India is one of the second largest area for the production of the cut flower, but globally, India has only 0.2% of the suppliers of the cut flower in the international market, though we have the huge land. The number two, among the entire production of the country, the West Bengal has a very huge contribution in the terms of the cut flower production. Now, let me explain what is a cut flower. The cut flower means those flowers which includes the rose, gerbera, tuberose, and all those things. It does not include the other type of flowers. So why we have considered the cut flowers? Because the flower market is very big, we have some constraints, and moreover, these flowers has been used both for the commercial purpose as well for the religious and other types of purpose. So it has a huge demand in the market. The third of all, though the market has shown the growth of 5 to 6% of the CAGR, but the conditions of the entrepreneurs, which includes the farmers, the retailers, and the wholesalers, has not been improved. These are the overall challenges that has been observed. Price volatility in the market, because it is completely uncontrolled market. There is no rules and no regulations in this market, number one. Number two, inefficiency is the market access. It is very difficult to access the market directly. The next is the reduction of the floricultural entrepreneurs' profit margin. This is one of the biggest concern. The people are not interested in this business because they have the lack of profit margin. It may, the reduction of the profit margin for the various reasons. I will explain one by one. Price fluctuations, need for the better infrastructure for the wholesale as well as for the retail market, shortage of the skilled manpower, and global warming. So the research gap that has been observed, these are all the real pictures that we have collected during the time of our survey. These are all the real pictures has been added. The price volatility, supply chain inefficiencies, and the profitability margins. This is the major research gap which has been observed from the different papers, particularly on the Indian context. Now, the objective of this paper to analyze the value chain inefficiencies in the floriculture industry and to propose a sustainable supply chain practice that can improve the profitability of the floriculture entrepreneur. The methodology that has been used, the data has been collected from the Malikhat flower market, which is one of the oldest flower market in Asia. The flower market was established in the year of 1855. It is one of the oldest flower market. Though there are more than 2,000 retailers or wholesalers or the daily consumers, but the market is so packed and the people are so busy that we have faced a lot of constraints for collecting of the data. And so our total respondents was 72. Though we have targeted 30 farmers, 30 wholesalers, 30 retailers, and 30 consumers, but after filtering down of the data, this is the final number of respondents we had. Statistical tools we have used the SPSS, and for this we have used the chi-square test, Spearman rank correlation, t-test for the statistical analysis purpose. Now for analyzing, we have started with the farmers. The reason we have started with the farmers, because the farmers lies in the bottom layer of the pyramid, because the business starts with the farmers. Now, while the heat map analysis shows from the chi-square test, the rent and the irrigation are the key contributors for the production output. That means if the rent of the land is increased, the cost of the production is increased. Though India has significantly improved in the powers of the irrigation, but still, the India has faced a lot of constraint for the irrigation, and the farmers have to pay a lot of money for the irrigations. So these are the basic two factors that actually influence the cost of the production from the first layer of the value chain. The next is next we have considered the wholesalers. For the wholesalers, we have found the schedule of the day of the supply of the flower and the seasons are more consistent influence, and the schedule of that is the most significant factors affecting the price. Let me explain these factors. When we have collected the data from the market during the time of for the time of collection of the data, this wholesalers has told, ki, sir, even if there is a change in the train schedule for the local train, because these farmers used to bring the flowers from this area from Midnapur or Howrah or Hooghly, even there's a gap of 15 minutes on the train schedule, the price fluctuates. And we are shocked. Yes, ma'am, this is a real fact. Even if the gap was 15 minutes. Now imagine if the gap increases more for 30 minutes or 1 hour, if a bundle of rose will cost you 400 rupees, the price will change to 600 rupees. During the time of the monsoon, if it rains more, this market is more than the stock market itself. In the stock markets, you have the calculations. You know what to do and what not to do. But in this market, you don't have any calculations. Neither the government have any data, neither the retailers have any data, neither the trade unions have any data. No data is there. But still, these crore of rupees used to get transaction in each and every day. Every day. This is, I don't know, being a researcher, I am very sorry to say, I don't know how this market used to work actually. This is such a huge market. The next is a retailer. Ma'am, we have an idea that normally the farmers used to earn the less. This is a general idea of the audience. The farmers' income is almost the less. But here the thing is completely opposite. The farmers and the wholesalers are in the better position in comparison to the retailers. Why? The question is why? When we have done our survey, it has been found, it is the farmers who is to pluck the flowers from the field. They do not have any type of marketing cost. Now their marketing cost means packaging, loading, unloading, wastage, and all these things comes under the marketing cost as per their terms. Now the farmers do not have any wastage. They have zero wastage. They just pick up the flowers, they came to the market, they sell the flowers, whatever the price is available. Right? So they have the zero wastage. Now, these wholesalers also don't have to face such type of constraints, because the wholesaler is to collect the flowers and they sell it directly to the retailers. It is the retailer who has to bear the entire pain. This is the beauty of this market. Retailer has to make the arrangement for the packaging. Retailer has to make the arrangement for the storing. Retailer have to bear the cost of this wastage. So the retailer is the only person who is to bear the pain of this entire floriculture market. This is completely different from any other type of market. Now, the key constraints we have found, lack of market informations, because neither the farmers, nor the retailers, nor the wholesalers, they don't have any idea what will be the price of the flower for the tomorrow. No idea. For example, if a bunch of 12 roses are selling at 300 rupees today, the flower may change to 350 rupees tomorrow without any festival.
2 minutes
Without
left.
any festival, okay? So they don't have any specific information regarding the local market information. Next is the late payment. The retailers used to take a lot of lend from the wholesalers, so they cannot repay the money. So who has to bear the pain? The wholesalers, because the farmers have to pay in cash. The farmers will take the money in cash. Who will pay the money? The wholesaler will pay the money. Now the wholesaler is not getting the money from the retailers. So this is another beauty of this market. The third of all, optimizing transport and wastage can increase the profitability. If they reduce this wastage, the profitability will increase. Now we have made the further analysis. Marketing cost significantly impacting the transport and the wastage. That is, transport and the wastage are the two important factors that actually determine the price of these flowers. And among the transport, the wastage is the most significant factor. That is, the most of the wastage used to occur for the transport, not for the packaging, not for the storing. Most of the wastage is occurred due to the transport. This is we have understood from this analysis. So our conclusions: the rent of the land of the production and irrigation costs are associated. There's a final cost. So the government should take concern regarding how to reduce the rent of the land and how to maximize the irrigation to give the benefits to the farmers. The farmers and the wholesalers have the highest and the equal profit margins. So we have to do something for the retailers who actually bear the pain of this market. And the net profit of the farmers is in a better position compared to the wholesalers, because farmers do not have to bear the packaging cost, the storing cost, no cost they have to bear. And the last is market information. At least we should recommend the government should form a portal, or there should be a print in the newspaper or something like this, that from tomorrow onwards or for the next week onwards the price will be this, so that both the retailers and the wholesalers or the farmers, they should have in a better position. And these are the final recommendations we have. This much from our end. Thank you. Sure.
Up next, we have Lorena Marquez from Bradley University.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Lorena Marques. I'm a change maker from EWG Brazil. I would like to say that I'm here also representing all the other change makers and students that engage in the EWG community in Brazil. So I'm extremely happy and grateful to be here. So my paper that I just started to write this year is the role of a well-connected ecosystem in driving innovation and expanding entrepreneurship in a global perspective. So the process of generating new ideas and transforming them into products and services is not easy, and entrepreneurs really need help to be able to do it. They cannot do it alone. So this struggle leads to the formation of an ecosystem with multiple stakeholders. Despite all of the challenges that these entrepreneurs face, one thing is certain. When we have entrepreneurs operating in a well-connected ecosystem, we can have innovative business that later are going to drive economic growth and benefits to the society. So here I mapped a little bit of the process where entrepreneurs generate ideas. When inside of a connected ecosystem, we get impactful business and economic growth and benefits to the society. And my paper aims to observe and analyze and reflect on one piece, which is this ecosystem, what is the connected ecosystem that they need. So the methodology is a self-advocate paper. So it's based on my professional and education experiences. So for my professional experiences, I have been working recently in different organizations that work exactly on this, how can I usually say, matchmaking of many different stakeholders inside of this ecosystem. So I worked for Endeavor in São Paulo, Brazil, Empowering Women Globally, in Florida, USA, Village Capital, USA, and now at Forest Valley Institute in Italy. Always working, trying to bring all of the stakeholders together in this ecosystem. And for my education experiences, I graduated at Rollins College, Kramer Graduate School of Business at Florida, taking an MBA, also with a support and facilitation of Empowering Women Globally. During Rollins College, I was part of the NASA Technology Transfer Program. I was a participant of this project, which I'm going to talk later. I graduated at ESPM São Paulo, a huge partner of EWG in Brazil, in international relations and business. And also I was a volunteer for Empowering Women Globally back in 2019. So my methodology for this research is to observe, inside of my professional and educational experiences, many different examples of this well-connected ecosystem. So for the objectives, the main question is, how does a well-connected ecosystem influence innovation, business growth, and social change? What are the specific contributions to building efficient ecosystems? How does cross-sector cooperation enhance ecosystem success? And from there, I brainstormed some key hypotheses for that. So, well-connected ecosystems increase innovation success by improving resources access and collaboration. Equitable resource distribution strengthens ecosystem efficiency and supports underrepresented entrepreneurs. Diverse stakeholder integration accelerates progress towards global challenges, like we see in the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And cross-sector partnerships are essential for sustainable innovation and long-term entrepreneurial success. So my first step in this paper was to try to do a stakeholders map. So look inside of this ecosystem, who are the key stakeholders? Of course, these stakeholders, they can be different in each ecosystem. So when I observe the ecosystem in Brazil, when I observe the ecosystem in India, in the US, they can be different. But once I'm talking about a global perspective, I try to map some common stakeholders in all of these ecosystems. So as we can see, we have many, in one ecosystem more, in other ecosystem less. But we can have startups, nonprofits, government and policymakers, mentors and advisors, accelerators and incubators, tech hubs and co-working spaces, customers and market, corporations and industry players, investors, academic and research institutions, and small business owners. So my second step on this paper was to reflect on the connectivity. So what's the connectivity inside of this ecosystem? It's the web of interactions, relationships, and exchanges that enable the seamless flow of information, resources, and opportunities among these various stakeholders. So a well-connected ecosystem, this web is going to be strong, and the connections are going to happen more frequently. Also, in a well-connected ecosystem, we're going to see structured interactions, which is going to be through formal mechanisms, so mentorship programs, industry partners, but we're also going to see some organic interactions. So, for example, peer collaborations, discussions inside communities, also digital platforms, people posting on Facebook, on Instagram, shared workspace, and many other types of connections that can happen organically. So now I would like to share a little bit of these real examples that I observed to write the self-advocate paper. So I tried to map some examples of stakeholders contributing to this ecosystem building. So examples of connections between two or even more of these stakeholders working together to make this ecosystem more strong. So the first one that I mapped was the NGOs. So entrepreneurship as a tool for social change. So the NGOs, they play an essential role inside of this ecosystem because they bring voice to underrepresented entrepreneurs, they bring voice to minorities, women, underserved regions. So they have a super important role inside of this ecosystem. And in my work at EWG, I was able to see the combination of two stakeholders, the NGOs and the university. Of course, we have many other stakeholders engaging at EWG, but for this paper, I decided to analyze and focus on the combination of the NGO and the university. So as a student volunteer in 2019, my job was to be mentoring female entrepreneurs. So I was bringing the knowledge coming from my classes in the university to the real world, the routine of entrepreneurs. So here we can see two stakeholders working together. For the next real example that I decided to observe was the corporate innovation officers, corporate venture capitals, and startup accelerators. So the power of open innovation. So for the corporate innovation officers, they are basically an arm of big corporations into the innovation ecosystem. They bring together big corporations and startups, small business owners.
Last 2 minutes.
Okay, sorry. And for the CVCs, the corporate venture capitals, they are basically bringing funding and knowledge from the big organizations into the startups. And the accelerators, they bring in training, mentorships, and also more connections inside of this ecosystem. So I observed two experiences at Endeavor in Village Capital. At Endeavor, I worked in one program with Arezzo, which is a huge retail company in Brazil. And at Village Capital, I worked on a program with IBM. So here I was able to see the combination of accelerators, corporations, and startups all together, making this ecosystem more connected. And the third real example that I was able to observe was the university contributions, catalyzing academic knowledge and science. So there's a lot of knowledge and science inside of the universities, which can be transformed into products and services and bring many benefits to the society. But for that, a well-connected ecosystem is also important. And in my time at Rollins College, I was able to participate in the NASA Technology Transfer Program, which is a program where NASA executives bring patent technologies from NASA to be analyzed by students, business students, and other students from different backgrounds, where we are able to think about ways where we can make these technologies be turned into products. How can we bring these technologies that are there waiting at NASA to the real world and impact the society? So some key results, the key benefits of a well-connected ecosystem. So it improves resource accessibility, enhances collaboration between stakeholders, and faster market entry and growth. And a conclusion that I want to explore even more in this paper is that each stakeholder have a critical role in shaping this environment that promote connections between other stakeholders in the ecosystem. So each stakeholder should actively look for and try to make actions to make this ecosystem more connected. So policymakers and corporate leaders, they can invest in ecosystem building initiatives. Make this ecosystem with more regulations that make it easier for the entrepreneurs, for the ideas to circulate. For the entrepreneurs, they should look for strategic networking. So they should actively work for organizations such as EWG to be able to be more, to be closer to the ecosystem and contribute more. And for accelerators, incubators, and corporate innovation programs, they can design more inclusive frameworks to reach underrepresented founders and promote cross-sector innovator. So, as I said, I started to write this paper now, and I hope to continue exploring in getting more information to finalize this paper. But a limitation that I can say is that external factors like economic downturns, regulatory changes, and technological disruptions may affect the connectivity. So as I said, it's a global perspective, but each ecosystem can have very specific needs and challenges. And for my future research directions, I would like to investigate also the role of digital platforms, maybe AI and other technologies, in enhancing this connectivity, because nowadays we have a lot of technology that can support that, and we should use that. Also try to investigate, maybe make a comparison, studies between ecosystem in emerging markets and developed economies. That's also super important because they should be super different. And also maybe explore the impact of government policies in making this ecosystem more connected. But that's it. I hope to continue this research and discover more ways in which I can recommend each stakeholder to be more active in this ecosystem and contribute for a well-connected ecosystem, which later can contribute to more economic growth and benefits to the society. Thank you so much.
Up next, we have Ms. Konkana Paul from Calcutta University. Yeah, the co-author. From Techno India, Shamima.
Good afternoon, everyone. Imagine you are in a hospital and you want to transfer a critically ill patient. But the ambulance tracking system is inaccurate, the call centers are overwhelmed, and there is no transparency regarding the delay. Now, what if I say, multiply this problem happening across various cities in India? This is the inefficiency present in the healthcare of India. Myself, Konkana Paul, presenting how innovation auditing can ensure safe and sustainable digital transformation in healthcare. To introduce you all with the concept, healthcare is rapidly digitalizing. But what is important is to bring that fine balance between innovation and risk management to ensure this transformation is happening in a smooth, safe way, ensuring the operational efficiency as well as the regulatory compliances. To define entrepreneurship, it is very important to have that innovation within organization because this is something that navigates this shift. Ultimately, with innovation auditing, hospitals can adopt a structured approach through which digital transformation is done more effectively and efficiently. Moving ahead to the purpose of the study focuses on Indian hospitals using digital transporter call management system. And here we are focusing basically on 4 dimensions. First is regulatory compliance and risk management, process efficiency and system innovation, innovation culture and workforce management, resource utilization and technological capabilities. It is very important to put all these things together. But why? To find out the challenges and purpose the target audits, which will improve the healthcare system. I will take this each dimension in detail in my next few slides. Talking about the research methodology, it is basically based on exploratory, indicative, multiple case study approach, where we are taking an account of 12 hospitals in 7 Indian cities based on the criteria. And the data collection method overall is semi-structured interview, and we also refer to hospital records, other compliance reports, and other secondary resources. For the data collection and analysis, we have used the respondent as IT manager, the assistant general managers, and other senior managers who are interrogated for 45 minutes each to gather that detailed insight regarding the challenges that is cropping up nowadays. Talking about the key findings, as I mentioned, I'll be taking some moment to discuss each and every one in detail. Starting with regulatory compliance and risk management. It is important to ensure that AI-driven technologies are incorporated, like GPS track ambulance, along with digital center system, which will ensure the ultimate efficiency and security. Why it is important? Because the challenges we face, like the gap in real time. So somebody is calling the ambulance in a really emergency situation, and they don't know where the ambulance is exactly located. So they keep on calling, and there is so much time gap that a person may lose his or her life. So it's very important to gap this real-time issue. Also, the inconsistencies are there. The risk of cybersecurities are there, followed with the incomplete audit. Like if they don't have a structured approach, it is not possible to have that synergic effect we are talking about. Moving ahead with the innovation, it is important to have the AI-driven transport system for the patient to ensure that there is no bottleneck situation in the workflow. And obviously, these are the challenges which it includes. That is the utilization of lack of coordination, the one I already talked about. The coordination is a big role to play in the system efficiency as well. So even if the staffs are ready and they are actually trying to give their best, it's not possible until unless this have that support within it. And then AI prioritizing. AI must diagnose what to be prioritized before what, and that is what ultimately which will bring out how the entire efficiency work out or not. As they may suggest, it's very important to have that collaboration and that engagement of the staffs to get that kind of final productivity on field. It definitely incorporates few challenges, that is low adaptation rates and the gamified system. Because we need to make the system with more gamified tools and other things that will exactly keep them engaged. They will have a good coordination among themselves. And they must have that, they must meet the skill gap, which is much required. Talking about the technological capabilities, it is important to have that collaboration of technology in between. So it is important to meet that skill gap. So without technology, the entire research is based on how we can incorporate that technology to have a better edge in the hospital industry. So the challenges which identified are the legacy system, that is the incompatibility, underutilization of the AI-driven insights. So it is important to utilize each and every the output we are getting from AI. It is important to incorporate in our work system. The upskilling program is the big constraint here, because it is important to educate the staff with the skill gap. They must know how to use the technology and how to leverage that technology overall. Talking about the practical implication, predictive maintenance is to be incorporated. Why it is important? It is important so that AI diagnose that how they can reduce the vehicle downtime, so that the right ambulance with the right community reach on right time. Talking about compliance service, the continuous audits makes it the entire regulatory compliance in one place. Moving ahead with the training service. Recently I learned about a term, digital poverty. So this is very applicable here, because digital literacy is something which will meet the skill gap. And that will enhance the entire workforce skill set, which will bring again the synergic effect. Transport optimization is a big role to play here, because it is important to have that optimal level of transport coordination, so that not only the predictive maintenance and everything should be at par with the transport as well, to get that final situation handling capability. Having in mind all the 17 goals of SDG, sustainability is an important concern here. So it is important to reduce the carbon footprint. To do that, it is important to find out the best route where the fuel consumption is very low. And then it is important to have the resource circularity, followed with the workforce inclusivity. Why workforce inclusivity? It is important to meet this meet what the staffs know already, and by evaluating them, it is important to incorporate them with all the knowledges and information they require.
2 minutes left.
And the cost efficiency is something very important. We cannot go ahead with a plan which cannot be continued in long run. So it is important to have a cost-effective solution to this big problem. And this will not only facilitate one dimension, but it will also facilitate the other dimension of the healthcare. So the conclusion is basically based on what I already discussed. It is through innovation and digital transformation, if done well and in a structured way, it can actually improve the healthcare system overall. But it has to be done properly with the safety, compliances, and the operational efficiency to gain that digital transporter call management system. It also helps hospitals to navigate the regulatory challenges while optimizing the operational performance. So it is important, while we are optimizing the performance, it is important to handle the risk, because if risks become a challenge or a burden in between, the operational efficiency cannot be achieved. So future scope consists of expanding audits, AI-driven decision-making, so that at times AI is also wrong. So we need to be very particular what AI is showing, and then we need to train the AI module accordingly so that we get what we exactly want to. Limitation is obviously because we are working in the 12 hospitals. It can be, diverse to various other dimensions. It only focused on, as I said, transporter call management system. With this digital transformation, smooth transformation will also help in other dimension as well. We only restricted ourselves to the part of hospital transporting. And then the further exploration will be needed to ensure that ethical considerations are also taken in account. Our research is mainly on the qualitative part, so we are not incorporating any statistical data right now here. This paper is already, we have applied it with the Sweden University to Emerald, so we are actually working on this paper, and we need to find out a statistical dimension of it as well. Thank you very much for hearing to me.
Thank you all the paper presenters because you kept the time very nicely, and my task is easy. Okay, so before opening the floor, I just want to share 3 to 4 points. For the first presenter, I think when you are talking about EO and you are looking at that how it is influencing, right? So I would like to suggest you to deep down more. What are the influencing factors, socioeconomic factors, to form the EO, okay? So there you can see that most of the time, entrepreneurs, familial background, especially the different types of institutions they attended, whether it is formal, informal, those are the parts you have to incorporate it. And the second thing is that when you are talking about the statistical analysis, especially the econometric analysis, and you are doing OLS, right? The moment you utter OLS and going to the publishing house, they will ask that what you have done with the specification biases. Okay, so I would suggest that better econometric analysis, if you can do, and you can do more into maybe looking at the limited dependent variable analysis, or doing it more, index basis, your index you are testing. I think that's the way, the similar kind of result you will get, but you will avoid all these questions, okay? Second paper was on flow rest, right? Now when you are doing the survey, my question is that why don't you extend it more? Do little more rigorous work. Because you are taking whole through the value chain four pillars, right? 4 verticals. Now 4 itself, if you take only one also, if you thinking about the retailers, and if you survey the 100 and 200 retailers, then I will buy your whole logic. Okay? It's too small a data for the survey. if you are not able to do that, you do it in a very subjective way, in-depth interviews, then 10, 20, 25 interviews, which can last for 3-4 hours. I think you will get more, challenges in each of the supply chain verticals. So it's a very nice work, but um, we need to do little rigorous work. Okay? And the third paper is on, you. So I found that it is almost like a action research. But the theoretical framework which you followed, a lot of questions. Because ecosystem, there are innovation ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem. Iceemsc have a huge amount of work. You have to go through that. Okay? And then you can think about that in the ecosystems, which are the pillars you have taken and why other pillars you are not taken. There are culture, there are, policies, there are so many things, So you take a proper theoretical framework of ecosystem and through your knowledge, because see, now these days there are a lot of debate about the autoethnography, but then also I put it as an action research. You are the actor, you are the participant of observant, and but you need a rigorous theoretical framework to say that, see, look, these people are doing this and these people need to do that. Okay? So those are the area you have to work upon. And the fourth paper, it is a very interesting work because very new thing for me too, because I'm not well versed in technology and those are the areas should come. Having said that, when you are doing the analysis, I think it is more on generic findings, because any technology intervention, they all faces this. Now, what is new? You need to dig deep. What is new for the AI? Okay? Because if I replace AI by IoT, if I replace IoT by the initial ICT, all the points which you have said, more or less same. Now you have to create a newness in your analysis, that why it is new, how we can bring the efficiency more, and why not other, when I'm looking at the other technology, why those problems don't arise in case of the other technology but may arise in case of the AI. You understood, right? And I'm sharing this because which I felt. So don't take it very negatively. We are all co-learners, okay? Now floor is open and we have 10 minutes for the question answer session, and please be brief about your question so that more people can engage. Please raise your hand.
I request all the four speakers to please come up on stage along with ma'am, chairperson. Four speakers, Mr. Anuruddha Bhaumik, Surabhi Mishra, Lorena Marcus, and Konkona Paul. Please come up on stage for the question answer session.
Who has a question?
Yeah, so I actually have questions for both Lorena and Konkona. So I'll start with Lorena first. What strategies do you suggest would help strengthen or help create more strong collaborations between different stakeholders in an ecosystem?
Hello. So you're talking about how can we collab in a better way. Are you talking about that one?
Question was for Lorena.
So,
Should I repeat my question?
no, I understood your question, sorry. So for this paper, I'm planning to investigate what's the strategy for each of the stakeholders, because it's difficult to recommend a general strategy. I will need to do a study on what can be the role of each of them in making this ecosystem more connected. So far I did some reflections. So for example, policymakers, they can try to investigate policies that make this connection inside of the ecosystem easier. So for example, reducing taxes for entrepreneurs to enter, to have all their papers to start the business, and also other strategies. But for each stakeholder, there's a specific research, because also considering the environment of this ecosystem in each place, it can be different. So that's the next steps of my paper, is to also do a comparison. What's going on developing countries, what's going on underdeveloped countries, and be able to address strategies also considering some particularities of each stakeholder in the environment.
Thank you. My question to Konkona is, what ethical concerns do you think about when we consider AI, integrating AI in emergency services in a life or death situation?
So I talked about the digital transporter call management system. So it is very important that the AI diagnostic, as I said, predictive diagnostic is a very important part. So if AI is diagnosing something very wrong, so then the other patient get prioritized if he or she is not in the priority list. So that's a very important thing, that AI develop that kind of predictive mechanism so that they know what is to be prioritized. And that's how, because as I mentioned in my presentation also, that if AI is wrongly prioritizing somebody else instead of who require immediate service, then obviously it's a matter of death and life. So it's important that AI is given that input, and accordingly it should give a systematic approach, so that it is important that AI, whatever results AI is giving, we can trust it blindly. But before reaching that position, it's important that we give AI that kind of input and we cross-verify it again and again, so that on the real world and the real field, it's no delay is there, there is no gap. And that's how we ensure that it's actually bridging the gap between the emergency situation and our situation. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Actually, I'll like to ask something else as well, which is, since you're mentioning that, yes, we need to develop better AI models.
Just make it very brief, please.
Just a short question. Have you found any AI models that have been built or have been, or people are working on building AI models in the same?
Right, we are already working in a limited data. So we are already taking in account 12 hospitals in the 7 cities. What we have found, it may not be applicable for the other hospitals. So it's important that we take in account the statistical part of it, as ma'am said, go deeper inside, and then we come up with the models that will be, because the paper is still now in continuation. So that's it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Anyone? Oh, ma'am.
Thank you. First, I want to say congratulations to all of you. It's beautiful to actually see the different stages that we're at, right, in terms of research. We have folks who are just starting out at the master's level, at the doctorate level, professor who's been doing this for a while. And I had one thought for all of you, which is if I may, is more of a comment than a question, is that when speaking to folks who are not as familiar with your research as you are, is please, please, please give us some definitions, and please connect it to the literature so that we are clearly understanding what is your conclusion and what the literature has already said. With that, I actually have a recommendation, Lorena, as you're working forward, to please look into the theory, as ma'am said, around bridging social capital, bonding social capital. So if you kind of capture those ideas, that will help you to understand sort of network analysis, the bonding and bridging capital. And then, Professor Sir, I have a question for you. One is, like, wow, zero wastage? I mean, so in that assumption, every single flower that goes from the farmer to the wholesaler is sold?
Ma'am, it's a very good observations. But when we have collected the data from the market, what the farmers have told, ki whatever the flowers they are carrying for the market, they used to sell it. And
100%.
yes, they used to sell the flowers because this observation is also very new for us.
Yeah.
They have told that whatever the flowers they are bringing to the market, that I don't know what is the quantity of flowers that get wasted in the field, or what is the quantity of flowers that get wasted during the time of transport.
Right, so they
I
might have had wastage in the field.
Yes, I don't have
Yeah.
that data.
Okay.
They haven't told me. Our question.
Any observation from your side?
Yes, our observation is that the farmers, maybe they don't have that amount of calculations regarding the
Yeah,
quantity of flowers that get wasted in the field.
Right, I think that's where your contribution is key.
Huh.
They think they have zero wastage.
Yes, they think they have zero wastage. Whatever the flowers they are bringing in the market, they don't have any wastage. Yes,
Right, right. Are they dumping the wastage before they get to market?
maybe.
Yeah.
They
it's-
may they have dumped the wastage before bringing to the market. That
Yeah.
also can happen.
Because and I don't know how small these farmers are, but certainly working in small to medium-sized entrepreneurs, we know that they actually have no idea what their costs are.
Yes.
Right? And so therefore, they don't know what their profit is. And so that margin, so I mean, I'm just really mesmerized by this idea of zero wastage, and it makes me want to ask a lot of other questions. The other thing is like the idea of uncertainty. What do other markets, other countries' markets do to overcome the uncertainty, right? Because you talked about the uncertainty of price, the uncertainty of availability. There's just like layers of uncertainty in this market. And did you or might you benchmark against other countries and what they do in their flower markets?
No, ma'am. That I cannot set this research as a benchmark because we have make the survey only to the Mallighat flower market that is located in Kolkata. So in West Bengal itself, there are 6 such type of markets are there. Though they are not so big. Mallighat is one of the biggest flower market in Asia, but this is not so big. Each market has a different type of interpretation. So I cannot take it as a benchmark. Okay, whatever the farmers or the wholesalers are telling, this is absolutely is true.
I guess I was suggesting benchmark the other way.
Yes.
What are markets that are more, if I can use the word sophisticated? What are they doing to deal with this uncertainty?
As of now, we haven't observed any such thing. They are going for the sophistications because one of the things I have already suggested, at least there should be a data. This is the number of retailers or this is the number of wholesalers who are coming. There is no data. For example, if I am the wholesaler, I am coming today in the market, there is no guarantee I will come in the next day. There is no such guarantee. Yes, because we went to the market for the 3 times. We haven't found the single person who is sitting in the same place consistently. This is the beauty of this market. This is more like a gambling.
So anyone else, any questions? Okay, I'll request ma'am to kindly give the closing remarks.
It's a very beautiful session because the various areas of work, and I congratulate all the 4 presenters, and you also engaged yourself with all the questions, and nice, and thank you for the questions from the audience, and we will stop here and moving to the next session. Thank you all. And thank you, organizers.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And I would like to give a big round of applause for all the presenters. Yes, sure, sure. Kindly all the presenters, please be there. Ma'am will be having a photograph. Ma'am, kindly please.
Next, we have a short coffee break for the next 15 minutes, and then we will resume around 3:55 in the main hall over here itself. Thank you so much.
मैम के स्टार्ट कर दीजिए।
मैम स्टार्ट करेंगी।
विजय सर का स्टार्ट करने बोल, फिर मार्गरेट का है।
तो इधर में ऐसे खड़े रहे हम लोग।
नहीं नहीं, अभी नीचे उतर जाता है।
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd request everyone to kindly take their seats. We'll be starting off. Welcome back to all present here. Next, we plunge into this enlightening plenary session on a truly inspiring and timely topic, women, happiness, and entrepreneurship. As we all know, the intersection of entrepreneurship and personal well-being in an area that's gaining increasing attention. But today, we are diving deeper into the unique ways in which women navigate this terrain, empowering themselves and others through entrepreneurship, all while addressing gender equality, happiness, and collective action. In this session, we will explore how entrepreneurship can be a pathway to not only personal fulfillment, but also societal change, especially for women. Our distinguished speakers will provide valuable insights on how entrepreneurial ventures can foster happiness, promote empowerment, and contribute to gender equality in meaningful ways. Our first speaker, Professor Vijay Kshatriya from Delhi School of Economics, will discuss happiness through entrepreneurship. Professor Kshatriya is a professor of commerce at Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi, with over 30 years of teaching experience, including in Bhutan and Shillong. His research focuses on happiness and human well-being, and he leads the Hap Lab Research Lab. A widely cited scholar, he has published with leading publishers and authored Human Well-being and Policy in South Asia 2020. He has received multiple awards, including the BBAY Gold Medal in 2018, and serves on key committees of UGC, ICSSR, and NAC. Professor Kshatriya will shed light on how entrepreneurship offers not only economic opportunities, but also a sense of fulfillment, purpose, and personal growth. In a world where we constantly seek happiness and well-being, Professor Kshatriya will explore the crucial role that entrepreneurship can play in shaping our sense of happiness and satisfaction. Following that, we will hear from Professor Margaret McLaren from Lawrence College, USA, who will speak on women empowerment, gender equality, and collective action. Dr. Margaret is the George T. and Harriet W. Kernel Professor of Philosophy at Lawrence College, specializing in feminist theory, ethics, social and political philosophy, and human rights. She earned her PhD from Northwestern University and has been a faculty member at Lawrence College since 1992. Dr. McLaren is a widely published scholar with books including women activism, feminism, and social justice. Her research focuses on transnational feminism, decolonization, and social justice, and she has contributed extensively to our national and international academic discourse. Professor McLaren will share her insights on how women entrepreneurs are challenging societal norms, fighting for equality, and creating platforms for collective change in their communities and beyond. We are also fortunate to have Mr. Anuj Sharma as the chairperson for today's plenary session. Anuj Sharma is the founder of Iceemsc, Asia's first and only place-based investing incubator accelerator focused on Himalayan and frontier markets of South Asia. With 2 decades of experience in impact investing, fund management, and incubation, he has supported economic resilience and social entrepreneurship across 16 countries. Iceemsc manages a diverse portfolio of 30 social startups, including the largest in the Himalayan region. Mr. Sharma is also an unreasonable mentor and a visiting faculty at TISS Mumbai, mentoring at leading institutions such as IITs, IIM, and international accelerators like Fashion for Good and Mass Challenge. His vast experience in the field of entrepreneurship and gender studies will be invaluable in guiding the conversation and ensuring a rich and engaging discussion. His expertise will help us dive deeper into the themes presented by our esteemed speaker. So without further ado, I request everyone to welcome all the speakers and the chairperson to the stage and move forward with the session. A big round of applause, everyone. So I request Professor Kshatriya to kindly take over. Okay, so I'll hand over the session to Mr. Anuj Sharma, the chairperson, and let him take over the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your generosity. Yes. So we are talking about a very amazing subject, and I'm so thrilled and happy that this subject has been pondered upon here. Like, you're talking women, happiness, and entrepreneurship. And the intersectionality is something which can define not just us, but as a society, also not just the well-being of us, but the overall humankind, the biodiversity and other things as well. So when we are talking about women, happiness and entrepreneurship, I should also reflect back upon the kind of values we created in empowering women together here with Professor Dato, Professor Sharmista and Professor Arijita as well. That for the last 10 years, we are trying to understand and amplify the cause of women entrepreneurship. And at the same time, when we are talking about women entrepreneurship, it's not in isolation. It has been a constant endeavor that we are trying to bring along a community together. We are trying to bring along a systematic change in the overall society and also the mindset of people at large. We keep talking about women entrepreneurship, but we are not kind of seeing an offshoot of women entrepreneurship going into the larger mainstream. And that's where, like, if we talk about a holistic thing, when we are talking about burnouts, out of 10, 9 entrepreneurs getting failed and other things. So it's kind of a lottery system we are talking about as well. But when we talk about women, we always talk about micro-entrepreneurship. We are not talking about SMEs. We are not talking about scalable ones. At the same time, we talk about microfinance, but more than 100 million women are there in microfinance, which are primarily by far the largest women-focused endeavor. But majority of leaders of microfinance are all male. And the same way, like we are talking about lots of other endeavors as well. So the intentionality is missing in certain ways. At the same time, we are talking about happiness, but happiness in what way? Is it only monetary or it is a holistic thing? Mental well-being, whether it is a crucial aspect for us to discuss or not. And many of the entrepreneurs today, they do not have safe spaces to talk about what is their mental state. Are they actually healthy? Are they actually talking about something which is more holistic of building the business? So building business, as Professor Sareen earlier said, is a process. You're not doing it because of money, but you're doing it for something larger. So to bring that kind of an amazing thing, we have Professor Vijay here and his experience in Bhutan. It's the only happiness quotient country in the world. Lots to learn from a country like that. At the same time, his own, like I will say, path-breaking experiences and also research in happiness. I'm sure we would like to learn a lot from your experiences of not just Bhutan, but also Meghalaya, which is a tribal biodiversity hotspot of India, and other aspects as well. So Professor Vijay, please, over to you.
Good afternoon. Please give me some energy from the, yes, yes. So are you people happy? Yes. Oh no, I can't hear this. Are you people happy? Yes. Yeah. I think, at the end of the day, we all want to lead a happy life. All of us, as a human being, we aspire to lead a happy life. You travel across disciplines and you realize that all the disciplines are somewhere merging and guiding us, whether it is really resulting in leading a happy life, peaceful life or not. So we are all concerned about it. The only problem is sometimes we compromise. And as we all have grown, we see that, sometimes there are momentary setbacks and we get unhappy about. So when we talk about happiness as a whole, I will not go into the academics of happiness, but share some of the things which I have been talking about, reading through, and sharing at different forums. When we talk about happiness, keep one thing in mind, it is not something that we talk about for a momentary response. We're talking about something which is sustainable. So what are we doing for that? We all pursue different careers, different tasks, different ways of leading our life. And at the end of the day, if really it is adding value to us, we feel we are satisfied. So you know what happens? When this whole debate of measuring happiness started, or when the whole domain of positive psychology started talking about creating positive societies, improving human lives, at that time this question came that can really we measure happiness? And ever since 1972, the then Prime Minister of Bhutan, the King of Bhutan, has been voicing this concern in the United Nations that GNH is more important than GDP. Gross national happiness is more important than gross domestic product. And every time, whenever he was talking about it, he was facing this challenge of academia, where people were saying that, yeah, fine, it is good, but how do we measure it? Okay, and in the 21st century, in 2008 sometime, they started measuring it, and they have gone for 3 different kind of surveys there. But to cut the story short, in our geography in India, we have a term called Anand. And when we talk about Anand, Anand is related to a feel of bliss. And it is much beyond the Western conceptualization of happiness, which is more hedonic, where we say that, the more you acquire, the more you possess, it is more related to those possessions. And little bit of economic view, where we talk about meaning and purpose, whether you are able to drive your passion and all that. There was a professor in the name of Edward Diener, whose wife was from West Bengal, from Kolkata, and his son Robert Biswas Diener. Edward Diener is no more there, okay? He developed a scale to measure happiness, and that scale is known as SWLS, satisfaction with life, satisfaction with life scale. And what was that? He had just 5 items on which he used to measure. They have worked in West Bengal, Odisha, and at different places in India. And SWLS is one of the measure of life satisfaction which is most cited across geographies in the world. So what do we understand from here? It says that you may not be able to measure happiness directly, but you can measure satisfaction. So they have a proxy in the name of life satisfaction. How are you leading your life? How was your last week? How comfortable are you with your neighbors and all that? And that is how, even in the state of Madhya Pradesh, they developed it in Hindi, and they were trying to measure happiness of people. So when you look at happiness, we talk about subjective well-being, the whole idea as Diener talked about. So he talked about life satisfaction as well as positive effect and negative effect. So try to balance and then see that, yeah, these communities are happy, or these geographies are happy. And today it is International Day of Happiness, and World Happiness Report is going to be released today. And their focus, this year's focus, is going to be on sharing and caring. I was so happy, when we talk about International Day of Happiness, it happens to be 20th March, and we are talking about entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs. And when you relate these two things, you find, I think, there is some kind of a manifestation somewhere. There is some kind of a good omen that you are celebrating happiness and you are celebrating women entrepreneurship. And there is a close link between that. And I think when you are entering into 11th year, so you have already completed 10 years. In Indian mythology, 11 is a very auspicious number. And that way also you are making a great beginning. So I think it is in the fitness of thing that we try to see how we can relate it with entrepreneurship. I taught a course on entrepreneurship, I think something around 10 years back, and that gave me some insights, and we did a small work, which was in 2016, when Government of India brought a startup action plan in February 2016. After that, a lot of startups started coming up. So we got data from the government and we tried to connect with around 1,500 odd startup founders. And out of that, around 308 to be precise, people responded and agreed to respond to our questionnaire. And we did that work to measure psychological capital, organizational success, and their expectations of entrepreneurs' expectations. And we got startling findings, which were published in one of the journals. So when we look at entrepreneurial happiness model, which we voiced out, that is something to do with psychological capital. And when we talk about psychological capital, there is a prominent literature which talks about a concept called HERO, which is an acronym. HERO is an acronym of hope, efficacy, resilience, and optimism. And Luthans has talked about that. And now see what really happens. There was a professor in Michigan in the name of C.R. Snyder, who is again no more. We happened to meet in one of the conferences, and he is one of the key persons developing hope theory. He says there are pathways through which are important to measure how people are expecting things to happen in future. And if you follow those pathways, it adds to the value of psychological capital. So we tried to look at these 4 variables, that is hope, self-efficacy. I was so happy in the morning in one of the sessions when someone was talking about psychological barrier. So I said that, psychological barrier is on one side and on the other side is psychological capital. So with psychological capital, you can handle psychological barrier. So when we did this work, what we found out was that hope and resilience, they had a significant impact on entrepreneurs' life satisfaction. And when we say entrepreneurs' life satisfaction, what does it mean? Entrepreneurs' happiness. Okay? So hope and both had a very high beta values. Whereas when we looked at optimism, we saw that optimism is able to predict life satisfaction, but has an excessive optimism. When you have an excessive optimism, that leads to poor decision making. And in the morning, we were talking about, that there is a Bloomberg study, there is an ESCOM study, that around 80 to 90% of the entrepreneurs, startups, they tend to fail in the 5 years. They don't see a life beyond 5 years. So that is what we also saw. When you become over-optimistic, then maybe sometime it leads to a thinking that, you land up making poor decisions. And this is validated through our research. There is a work by Dacey which talks about 3 components which add to the self-determination theory, which is very, very closely related to entrepreneurship. I was earlier I had thought about it, but today when I was listening to people I was able to think a very close link with entrepreneurs. What is it? This self-SDT talks about autonomy, competence, and passion. So entrepreneurship gives you autonomy. And when you are passionate about an idea, you get invested into it so much that you forget about its financial returns as such. And that is something which is very core to you. And I think that makes you really happy because you are able to pursue what you really wish to pursue. And that adds a lot of value to the person. And also related to competence, which we say that this is a model which Dacey and Ryan suggested. There is very interesting aspect. There is a professor who again died last year, Richard Eastlin. in the name of whom we have a paradox, which is known as Easterlin paradox. And today morning again, when people were talking, I was reminded of that paradox. And that paradox says that money plays an important role in making you happy, but its role starts deteriorating once your basic needs are fulfilled. What does it mean? There is no linear relationship between money and happiness. So, if people are doing entrepreneurship for the cause of making money, chances are that they might follow the shortcuts. So, you need to follow your passion. It might convert into money later. So, Easterlin paradox, on which in India a lot of people have worked, there is data on China, and we follow a very strong, we were talking about Barack Obama was a person who was saying that Easterlin paradox doesn't work. Okay, more money means more happiness. Okay, and this is on record. A lot of people have been talking about that as well. But when you look at the literature across and the researches across, you find the applicability of acceptance of research is Easterlin paradox. And that paradox is you can't buy happiness with money. So if profit is your motive, if profit is the motive of an entrepreneurship, then you would somewhere compromise on the idea. And I think as some of you are already having your ventures, please do not just focus on profit. Focus on your passion, and you will yourself see it will, in a longer period of time, it will result into some kind of profit. So profit should not be the focus of your venture. Another way of looking at when we talk about economic growth and relate it with the happiness, we find that in general, if there are wealthy nations should have high happiness. But that is not the case. In 2008, a scholar, Adrian White, in the University of Leicester, developed World Map of Happiness. And in this World Map of Happiness, in top 10 countries, there were only 2 developed nations. Bhutan had 8th rank. Okay? And most of the other countries, though they came from a Scandinavian region, but if you overall see the great nations like United States or UK or Australia, they were not in top 20, top 30. They were much behind. What does it mean? It means that if you have very high GDP, it does not really make people happy. So happiness has 3 ways. I look at happiness from 3 different angles. One angle is the individual happiness, where we measure psychological capital or life satisfaction of people. Then we look at the community or the organization, and we see whether it is really serving the cause for people, or it is really making people happy, satisfying their needs. And the third is the nation or the global happiness, whether it is really creating that kind of positivity in the minds of people. When people are talking to each other, whether they are comfortable or they are only for their personal aspirations that they are involved with them. So I think it is in the fitness of things, when we look at the broader theme of today's conference, when we are talking about entrepreneurship, we are talking about women entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurship, one has to always look back and see whether it is really translating it into developing a positive attitude in the minds of people. And there are a lot of people working across nations when you have when you have a relationship with what they are doing and what it is really resulting in. Yeah. Thank you. We also found out that the financial performance of their ventures, the ventures of the entrepreneurs, did not have impact on the life satisfaction of the entrepreneurs. And that also tells us a story that if entrepreneurs are following their passion, they are doing much better job rather than just going with their financial returns. And we have examples of all kind of entrepreneurs who have done great job in India. This also leads to, when we talk about women entrepreneurship, we also look at work-life balance. When we are looking at work-life conflict and heading towards developing measures for work-life balance. And I think it would be great if agencies of this kind are involved in doing some kind of impact assessment on the work life of women who can really lead a better life through their empowerment, especially participating in the process of decision making, pursuing their dreams, seeing things from the hindsight, and imagining that things are going to be better in the times to follow. As we look at the future, what personally I would visualize, I think individuals have to be oriented towards finding the call from within. What really they want to pursue? Where do they see their own future? And if they are able to find out A or B and then concentrate their energy towards that, they can lead a much happier life as compared to be driven by what is happening in neighborhood, what is happening with other people. So instead of spending time with yourself, trying to find from within, you are more driven by the external forces. And if you keep on responding to external forces, you'll end up nowhere. And there are evidences of all kinds that you have all over the places. So what is the idea? The idea is that you should have a purpose-driven entrepreneurship. If you have a purpose-driven entrepreneurship, you can improve your life satisfaction, and once your life satisfaction improves, naturally it is going to result into happy families, better well-being of people. So the key takeaways out of what I have discussed, maybe as we sit together, you ask questions, I will be able to respond to you better. So the key takeaways are, whatever you are doing, whatever policies we're making, we try to focus on how it is resulting in the happiness of people. I give you an example. In Bhutan, they had the GNH Commission. Okay? What was the purpose of GNH Commission? Gross National Happiness Commission. The purpose of GNH Commission was any policy by any ministry has to pass through GNH Commission. They will say, what is its impact on people's life? Okay, so whether it is really adding value, it is really giving a positive message, it is helping people to build happy society, if so, they'll say, okay, fine, this policy should be followed. And if not, they will try to suggest measures through which they can add those things and you can have a good policy. Okay, so this is one way of integrating well-being into your policy making. Second way could be that focus more on the positive psychology, like the psychological capital part of it, develop a better sense of hope, keep driving people who can respond back, who have a higher sense of resilience. Okay, so never never surrender to the circumstances, but have the spirit to fight back. Okay, so that resilience one should have, rather than focusing on the financial returns. And perceived success should not be on the basis of financial success. Perceived success should be from the point of view of their inner self satisfaction. I will close here, and maybe as we proceed, we will respond back to you. Thank you very much for having me here. I was wondering what am I going to do and how am I going to talk about, but I think I made a very good choice of speaking on this and learning. It has been a great learning, listening to great people and connecting with people. Thank you, Professor Sharmista, for having me here. And I wish all of you lead a very happy life. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your kind words. And now I can actually better understand and speak about myself as well. I used to work for the third richest person in the world. And what I'm doing today, like my mom still doesn't understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. But, it answers. All the things lies in the happiness. So thanks for bringing that amazing aspect of life, Professor Vijay. And I have Professor Margaret here, and I was fortunate to be with you for a few days here. And the kind of aura and the enlightenment you had, the kind of things that you kind of made us feel, like the special way you kind of go and touch the lives of people, it's so amazing. So I saw her doing so much of transformative work in Shantiniketan, traveling across different parts of the world, and finding offshoots of not just women entrepreneurship, but also hope, societal change, and so on and so forth. So I would request Professor Margaret to give some kind of insights about what her thesis is all about, what inspires her, and also why it is so important to talk about these things in a larger forum like this as well. Please, Mom. Yeah.
Okay, I think I have a PowerPoint, so yeah.
Are you just
Oh,
lights off? Or it will be okay?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter, it's okay. So I think I have a PowerPoint, but while we're working out how to show it, I'll just start in the interest of time. So first of all, I just want to connect my talk actually to the talk that we just heard, which I thought was wonderful, and also to the talk earlier about context, because my talk is about, it's actually about women's empowerment, and it's connected to, it's connected to economic empowerment of women, but through cooperatives, that's better, but through cooperatives and collectives. And so I'm interested in really changing social norms and structural oppression through economic empowerment. So good news, bad news. The previous speaker talked about how our happiness isn't necessarily linked to entrepreneurship or money. But in my talk, you'll hear that for people that don't have the basic necessities, then actually part of their happiness is linked to economic empowerment if they don't have food and their children are malnourished and they don't have health care, adequate shelter. So good news, bad news. So, but what I then say is that economic empowerment is not enough. You have to go on to actually have social empowerment, and that is not connected with money. So those are the key takeaways of my talk. So if you get bored or have to step out early, that's pretty much the conclusion. All right. So just a little bit about me. So I've been doing participant action research, which we heard a little bit called actions research. I've been doing it in India since 2004. My field work, I'm a philosopher, but I also do women and gender studies. So my background is very theoretical, but through women and gender studies, I do anthropology, I do economics, I do sociology, I team teach with anthropologists at my school. I've written on gender and globalization, so my work is very interdisciplinary. So I've done qualitative fieldwork with two organizations. One is called Marketplace India. It's a smaller organization. It's actually based in Mumbai in Maharashtra. It has 13 cooperatives. It has about 300 members and about 200 and 90 of the members are women. It bills itself as a women's cooperative, but there are a few men who are in the cooperative. The other organization actually started in Gujarat, but now has chapters, and I think last time I looked, it was in 19 states in India. That's one many people will be familiar with. It's the Self-Employed Women's Association, or SEVA. I'll be abbreviating that. So Marketplace India was founded in 1980 in Mumbai by a woman who is from Mumbai. She has her master's in social work. She's since immigrated to the US because she married someone from the US. And SEVA began in 1972 in Ahmedabad. Both of them, Marketplace India is primarily a production cooperative, so they produce articles of clothing, but they also have a social action program, and so I'm mostly going to talk about, thank you, I'm mostly going to talk about the social action aspect, or how people sort of go from being economically empowered to being socially empowered. And I think there is some connection, but not a necessary connection. It's not a smooth, bright line. Self-Employed Women's Association also helps women to create social change because they organize them into cooperatives, into unions. They have a lot of collective bargaining power. They are actually the largest women's union in the entire world. So they're very unique, I think. I think they're amazing. And I've had the chance, like I said, to do field work and sort of spend a lot of time with the different vendors and not just vendors, but the midwives and the dairy and things like that. So. My talk's a little more formal, but I'm going to skip some. I'm going to read some and talk some. So, according to a Population and Development Report from the United Nations, quote, promoting the status, education, and health of women is an essential human rights goal and also holds the key to social development in all societies, improving lives and strengthening families and communities. And I think this is very well known by now for most people, but this is one of the reasons I began to be interested in women's economic empowerment. That and gender equality, actually. Politicians and policymakers alike acknowledge the centrality of women's status and well-being to the overall quality of life for her children, and her family. So when you improve women's quality of life, you improve everyone's quality of life. And I would argue their happiness, because I'm talking basic necessities. Consequently, the United Nations, as well as NGOs, target women as the focus for development projects. Many of United Nations documents couch women's empowerment and gender equality as simply an instrumental goal that generally helps economic development. Now, there's nothing wrong with helping economic development. That's good, and quality of life. But I actually think that gender equality is a good in and of itself. So that even if we're working on gender equality in another way or another venue, that's also a good. So they're two separate social goods that sometimes come together, overlap. For instance, in the 2006 United Nations Development Report, it's noted that, quote, women's empowerment helps to raise economic productivity and reduce infant mortality. It contributes to improved health and nutrition. It increases the chances of education for the next generation, end quote. So there's material outcomes to the economic empowerment of women. Again, it helps everyone and not just the women. Some feminists have criticized viewing women's empowerment as a means towards the further goal of national economic productivity. I already talked about that. So sometimes if you're just looking at women's economic empowerment as a way to improve the functioning of the economy, and it's not linked to other issues like happiness or satisfaction or purpose or even gender equality, then it's problematic. Okay, so I have 4 sections in my paper. I think I'll probably stick to the sections, but like I said, I might talk through some of it. So the first section is actually on women's empowerment. It's been a contested term actually in development literature, so I do a lot of work in the development literature and development ethics. The second, so it's the defining empowerment. Some people talked before about defining terms. They're going to get sick of my definitions. It's a whole section. The second section is on economic empowerment. The third section is on gender equality. And the fourth section, I talk about collective action, or why we need to have collectivities as opposed to simply individuals. So, much research on economic projects targeted towards women relies on the notion of empowerment to measure the success of a project. So these are mostly from UN documents, but various ones. Definitions of women's empowerment in development literature often do not specify what it entails. Theorists have worked to define and clarify empowerment in part because of its frequent use in international documents such as the UN Development Program reports, World Bank publications, and the UN Millennium Goals and the SDGs. Theorist Naila Kabir, who's actually from Bangladesh but immigrated to the UK, she specializes in gender and development, and she defines empowerment as including three interrelated dimensions: agency, or the ability to act or to choose what to do, resources, and achievements. Many accounts of women's empowerment and development literature focus on agency and access to resources. Agency and access to resources are connected. In order for agency to be meaningfully exercised, it relies on the agent having a range of acceptable choices. Still, disagreement about how to define empowerment and how to accurately measure it abound. These disagreements can be high stakes when future funding depends on proven results. Critics of empowerment note that it has been co-opted by neoliberal corporations, development agencies, and even its use in United Nations documents. One line of criticism holds that empowerment is primarily psychological and individual, involving changes in individuals' beliefs and attitudes without changes in oppressive and unjust social structures. Let's call this individualist empowerment. Much of the discussion of women's empowerment in development literature looks at women's empowerment in relation to this kind of individualist empowerment, right? So to increase individual agency or make choices, which is good, but only part of the picture. Increasing women's agency is important, yet empowerment goes beyond merely increasing agency because personal choice and agency are constrained by a lack of material, economic, and social resources. Providing or increasing access to resources, both economic and social, provides the conditions for exercising choice in a meaningful way. Okay. As Kabir notes, quote, "There's a logical association between poverty and disempowerment because an insufficiency of the means for meeting one's basic needs often rules out the ability to exercise meaningful choice," right? So if you're poor and you can't meet your basic needs, then you don't have meaningful choices, right? I mean, it's not a situation in which you can sort of make life choices in a way that you can when your basic needs are met. It's the link between poverty and disempowerment that Kabir points out that leads to the assumption that poverty alleviation will empower its beneficiaries. But that's a contested assumption, and one that I contest in the paper. As we shall see, empowerment not only involves an expanded range of choices, one must also choose in ways that make one's life better. And as I shall argue, a feminist understanding of empowerment moves beyond the merely personal to the collective. Viewing empowerment merely as an expanded range of choices and an increase in individual agency without attention to social context and relationships ignores the background conditions that shape our choices, such as global capitalism and gender inequality and caste. Simply assessing empowerment outcomes by people, quote, living the lives they want, does not challenge social structures that perpetuate dominance and subordination. For instance, Kabir notes, for an Indian woman, and this is her example, for an Indian woman, having many sons to bring in large dowry payments may be an individual measure of success, but it does little to change the structures that maintain gender discrimination and oppression. Development ethicists Jay Drydick and Christine Kogel make a similar distinction. They distinguish agency from empowerment, noting that agency is individualist and subjective, while empowerment, quote, empowerment refers to a process of change that enables one to shape one's own or a group's life by one's own or a group's choices for the better. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So basically, I'm focusing on, Kabir makes a distinction between effective agency, where you as an individual get better at achieving your own goals, and transformative agency, which involves, quote from her, greater ability on the part of poor women to question, analyze, and act on the structures of patriarchal constraint in their lives, end quote. This distinction between effective and transformative agency is critical for an adequate understanding of empowerment that includes changing social relationships and entrenched patterns of asymmetrical power. Empowerment involves transformative agency, not merely effective agency. And just before I do the next paragraph, this photo is of a midwives cooperative of Sewa. So I'm out in the rural area. I was staying in Ahmedabad, but I went out to a rural area in Gujarat, and this is a midwives cooperative. And I had an interpreter with me because I don't speak Gujarati, but it was fascinating to sit under a tree and talk to them about the ways that they were still teaching each other peer-to-peer education, oral education, and still able to birth babies. I believe they said their infant mortality rate was lower than the nearest hospital, so it was pretty impressive. All right. As I shall argue, empowerment has a social and collective dimension that involves changes in social relationships and institutions. When empowerment is understood within what I call the feminist social justice framework, which is actually my framework that I write about in a book, it includes not only changes in beliefs and attitudes, such as improved self-confidence or self-esteem, but also the capacity to challenge social, political, and structural barriers that lead to one's devaluation and limited opportunities, including the capacity to challenge structural barriers and promote social change in the definition of women's empowerment, moves the analysis of its effectiveness from an individual level to a social and political level. Okay. So the next section is called Economic Empowerment of Women, and this section you'll mostly be familiar with because it's a lot about when women are able to make a living, right? So it's about livelihoods. There are many advantages to economic empowerment of women. First, earning a livelihood enables women to meet the basic needs of their families for food, shelter, and health care. When earnings extend beyond meeting basic needs, women also prioritize, and this is well documented, they also prioritize their children's education, including their girl children. Second, the increased status a woman gains from earning a livelihood may directly contribute to raising her status in the community, and I have a lot of examples of that. And third, when women engage in small enterprises and artisan projects, this often allows them to stay in their home villages rather than migrating to an urban center for work. And earlier I heard an interesting paper about migration and the reasons for migration, especially rural to urban migration. However, economic empowerment of women needs to be connected to social and political empowerment to engage in challenging exploitative relationships in addition to jobs and skills training and support. An empowerment model based on social equality and democratic participatory engagement goes well beyond simply giving women access to credit or an income. It fosters poor women's ability to speak up and to change the conditions of their own lives. And I mostly worked with these organizations that work with very poor women, actually. Women's economic, and this is a slide from SEWA, they have 11 things that they do, you can see on the slide. Women's economic empowerment is one piece in a larger project of social transformation. Yet economic empowerment may lead to a feeling of empowerment. For example, Karuna, a member of SEWA, for Karuna, a member of SEWA, there was a direct connection between economic empowerment and feeling empowered. Karuna lived in an urban area in a hut with no door. She made items out of bamboo to support herself and her 2 daughters, but after working all day, she was unable to sleep at night for fear that someone would come into her home. After working for several years, she took a loan from the SEWA bank to install a door on her hut. She said she was finally able to sleep in peace after years of sleepless and anxious nights. When asked at the SEWA bank meeting what this felt like, she replied, quote, "I felt full of power, as if 1,000 light bulbs lit up my body," end quote. For a woman who has been fearful for her safety, vulnerable, and lacked the basic conditions for a decent life, adequate shelter, for instance, economic empowerment is, in and of itself, a good. So, one could say that economic empowerment is a necessary but not sufficient condition for the empowerment of poor women. There you see that I'm a philosopher. The reason is simple. If empowerment includes the ability to choose among reasonable options, then having reasonable options such as access to adequate nutrition for one's family or the financial ability to send your children to school often depend on financial resources. As discussed above, empowerment is not just an attitude or the ability to choose, although it does include these dimensions. It also includes the ability to challenge oppressive and discriminatory social relations, in this case, gender and caste, in Karuna's case, and the possibility of transforming them to more equal and just social relations. As already discussed, this aspect of empowerment is necessarily collective. We do not transform social relations by ourselves or in a vacuum. So the next section is gender equality. It is not women's access to resources alone that enables them to challenge gender norms as well as other forms of injustice, but their capacities as leaders and social activists. Women's empowerment must be seen within and occur within projects. They're part of a broader movement for social justice, including economic justice. Just as organizations that seek to improve the lives of poor women through economic empowerment must address immediate needs such as adequate food and shelter, while at the same time changing the structural conditions that produce poverty and social exclusions, they must also have a multi-level approach, so both immediate and institutional, to challenging gender oppression. According to Naila Kabir, quote, empowerment takes the consciousness and capabilities of individual women as a starting point. Gender justice is concerned with the quality of the institutional arrangements that govern social relationships, end quote. Organizations such as cooperatives that address the day-to-day needs of poor women while building capacities such as leadership skills, democratic participation, and social and political involvement are a promising route to comprehensive and sustained social justice movements, including gender justice, because of their focus on empowering their members to be agents of social and political change. Empowerment can transform social relations towards gender equality. For example, Puraben, an artisan with the Sewa meetings would destroy the local culture. They imposed a ban on women leaving the village, including attending Sewa meetings. However, Puraben met with a village leader, reminding him that the women's work provided the steady source of income through drought and agricultural low seasons. The ban was lifted. At a Sewa meeting, Puraben said that standing up for what she believed was empowering to her. Moreover, she is now respected in her village and community, as she says, quote, now, when I pass from the village elders and children call me as Puraben and not as the wife of someone, end quote. In this case, the women's economic power of having the only consistent income increased their social power to meet with officials and to ask for changes in the enforcement of traditional gender restrictions on mobility. They were not only successful in lifting the ban, which increased their self-confidence, but they also gained increased respect from community members for their social and political engagement. This example demonstrates how economic power plus social empowerment can provide women the leverage to challenge patriarchal and traditional relationships. In another example of the relationship between empowerment and social change, Guraben describes how this growing self-confidence affects her ability to, quote, intervene in matters that affect her, end quote, affect her life and the lives of the other women in her community. Women in Guraben's community had to walk several kilometers every day to another village to fetch water because their village had no water tank. She and the other women fought to get the village to build one. This involved meeting with village and government officials. Guraben notes, quote, we are not afraid to talk to men or with government officials. Very often we have to pull and push them to work with us. If a government official ignores me, I just go to his boss. If his boss does not listen, I turn to someone else until someone hears me out, end quote. Increased self-confidence and sometimes a new knowledge of how to navigate public urban spaces often benefits Sewa members' family members as well. When Kavita Ben's husband, Shankarbai, fell seriously ill, she insisted he go to a hospital in the city against his wishes. They removed a tumor from his stomach and his health improved. Kavita Ben says, quote, since then, he never contradicts me. He has faith in whatever I say or do, end quote. These examples demonstrate that the women's increase in self-confidence and consequently in their ability to act individually and collectively, their ability to act individually and collectively garners them increased respect from family and community members. This increased respect is a shift in social relationships that devalue women and offer a challenge to patriarchal values. Each of these examples from Sewa shows that individual empowerment through collective organizing can lead to a specific social, political, material, and symbolic change. A water tank, the ability to leave the village unimpeded, increased respect, the power and means to tell their own stories, and the realization that they can, quote, do things which at first seemed impossible. And I'm almost done. Many of the women in Sewa attribute their ability to change infrastructure, policies, and even laws to the power of collective action. Speaking of the success of organizing the Bidi cigarette rollers, Gadavaraben says, quote, we have heard how good our voices sound together. We understand very clearly the more women we bring in the union, the stronger we will be. And I'm going to end there, so I'm just going to flip through the question. So that's me in 2004 when I started the research.
Thanks for kind of bringing up a very important topic. Professor. So, because this was such an important topic that we were talking about, like wanted to have the audience as well. There were lots of people who were curious to ask, and yes, ma'am.
So thank you very much for bringing up this very important discussion, and particularly when we are working on with the women entrepreneurs, I think this discussion becomes crucial. My question is directly to Professor Shrotriya, that as you said that women entrepreneurs should not only focus on the income or the profit, but on the general happiness. Given that India's women entrepreneurs are mostly forced into their profession, they are not coming it as a kind of in passion. There are some, but mostly they are coming out of their household because they are being forced on economic reasons. Now, given that background, how do we pose this question that you will have to look for happiness rather than income?
It is not, I think if you are getting this message that one should not think about money, then I think you are taking it in a wrong way. It is not like that. I was talking about Easterlin paradox. Easterlin paradox says that money plays an important role till your basic needs are fulfilled. So what does it mean? You need to earn your living. Okay, so I never said that you do not need to focus on income at all. But if you keep on only focusing on income, that is not proper. Okay, so when we look at the subjective side of it, which is more important than the objective part of it, naturally you have to earn your living. If one is spending time, then one has to look at what exactly one is getting from there. So there will be some income. But you cannot just take income at the back. And another thing, what I was talking about, I was not talking about women entrepreneurs in particular. I was talking about entrepreneurship in general. In entrepreneurship, you all have, when we talk about social entrepreneurship, or when we talk about entrepreneurs as such, the primary focus is not that they really want to become billionaire or they want to really earn good money. Their primary focus is that they have a passion, they want to make a change, they want to bring something on the board, and yes, with it, if they are able to earn their living, that is also fine. So that was the point which I wanted to make. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Yes.
Thank you so much. Hello, sir. I have a question for Sir Vijay, sir. So basically, you just mentioned that we should not focus more on the external factors. Rather, we should ask ourselves that what sort of passion we have, right? So what my question is, like, before making a business, we should more focus on understanding our passion, and thereafter we can, if it's possible, we can go further with the business according to the passion. But what my question is, like, as human beings, we tend to change, or maybe we tend to get bored for certain things. So is it possible, like, for a certain period of time, I'm working on a certain passion as like doing a business, but then I'm sort of again bored with it. So does that mean that I have to change the entire operation or entire thing with the business? Is it, I mean, like, is it thoughtful, or like, how shall I think about it?
Yeah, again, when I was telling about passion, passion results in long-term sustainability. But if you are not really clear about your passion, if you are changing your passion often, then I think there is some problem in your passion itself. Okay, when I was talking about passion, means you are driven from within that this is what I want to do, and when you are doing that, like then you are putting a lot of your energy into it. Like, see, I give you example of Steve Jobs. If you read the story of Steve Jobs always used to say that, when if you are enjoying what you are doing, you are not really working. So at present, I was going through a study which said that 70% of the entrepreneurs in India, they spend 70 hours a week. Okay, now see, when you are spending 70 hours and there is a huge debate of 72 hours, 90 hours and all that, you really forget because you are enjoying it. Because you are so, आपके अंदर वो जुनून है. Passion, we talk about as a junoon. And when you are passionate about something, you don't get into some kind of a measurement. Okay, but if you say that with your passion after 2 years you get bored, then I can't help it. That is something I think one has to again see from within, that really what one wants to pursue. If you are doing what you love doing, I can tell you for sure you would get good results in the long time. You have to have that much of patience. Okay, patience and persistence. Okay, once that is there, there is no looking back. And there are so many stories all across which narrate the same logic. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
So I think we can close the session, and thanks a lot for both of your times, very valuable, and lots of things that we learned from this whole thing, and this paradox at the same time, the kind of survivability and lots of other things that we were talking about, and we will go back and reflect upon these things. So thanks a lot, and we look forward having these conversations going on as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Shotria and Professor McLaren, for your incredible presentations and thought-provoking insights today. Also, I would like to thank Mr. Anush Sharma, our chairperson, for expertly moderating the session. I hope you all are enjoying the event so far. We now have something truly exciting lined up for you all, a vibrant showcase of creativity, talent, and entrepreneurial spirit that celebrates both culture and innovation. We are thrilled to present a fashion show featuring EWG entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs are not only redefining style, but also using their creativity and innovation to bring entrepreneurial vision to life. The fashion show is about the spirit of entrepreneurship, empowering individuals to make their mark in the world as these entrepreneurs showcase their unique collections, each telling a story of creativity, hard work, and ambition. So let's get ready for an exciting runway experience featuring the work of EWG entrepreneurs. Now please join me in welcoming them on stage. A big round of applause for them kindly.
makeup and costume. Most of them are the designers, and we are so very thankful to Shormishta ma'am, Urjita ma'am, and empowering women globally, because I have been working in this industry for the last 18 years, but I do not get the opportunity to get the designers come on stage in their creation. They never come on stage. They don't dare to come on stage with their showcasing their careers. So I'm very thankful to all of them, to the entire team of designers as well as the creators over here. I would like to call out their name so that they can introduce themselves. Could you please, fade it out. Thank you so much. So we had Sangeeta Sen, the founder and director and CEO of Bharat Race Solutions Private Limited. Then we had Jitesh and Shona, who are from the Empowering Women Globally team. Then we had Shujata Boshak, Boutique Mala is her brand. Then we had Konika Dotto. So whoever I'm calling out name, please come forward. Then we had Shujata Chatterjee of Toll Store. Sharbani Shengupta, founder of Destiny Interiors. Oliver Shengupta, her brand name is the Loom Store. Choitali De, company name is Bolso, founder of Bolso. Emotion with Fashion is her tagline. Shampa Ghosh, company name is Shampa Creations. Then we had Sritama Mukherjee, her brand name is Ponno Vichitra. Champa Kundu, brand name is Champa. Moshumi Das De, Moshumi's handcrafts. All the jewelry you saw them wearing are from Moshumi's, and Indrani's Indrani Chakraborty. All the jewelries are their creation. Then we have Amrita Shorkar from Sri Boutique. We have Kona Mondol from Hasta Uddog. Dr. Moha Bhattacharya, who is the founder of Medicare Plus. Shujata Boshak from Boutique Mala. Rupa Boshak from founder of Race Confections. Sritama Mukherjee, Konika Dotto, Oliver Shengupta. And last but not the least, Piyush Karamchandani, who came to the rehearsal just for 1 hour probably and did it. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Jalpai worn from Shoma Banerjee, like the kurtas, Punjabis worn by the men, 3 handsome men are from Jalpai born Shoma Banerjee. And we have Sharbani Joada's creation.
On the stage, on the stage.
And
on
yes. And most importantly, the entire film industry and the fashion industry exists because of the magic of our makeup artist. We have Devdipa with us, who is from EWG, with her team, and Shonada. Shonada came all the way from Durgapur to do the makeup today. And I had the privilege of choreographing the entire thing. I'm from Grooming Destination. This is Tuina Pandey for you.
I snatched the microphone. I am almost in tears. I have seen most of them on the day one. And the confidence that is beaming, that is women empowerment and that is happiness. Please, a big, big round of applause for the entire team of EWG.
A big round of applause.
I am Devdeepa Masu, the makeup artist here, but I am not only alone. My student Uttam and my staff Shonali both helped me to create this makeup. So please, I ask them to be on stage. Uttam Chakraborty. And another is Shonali Gude. She did the hairstyling for everyone. Okay. Thank you, all of you.
अरे बाबा रे
Okay, I would like to thank all the entrepreneurs for an exceptional display of creativity, innovation and entrepreneurial spirit. A big round of applause for all of them. And I would now request them to kindly take their seat on the audience because we have our next session of programs lined up. So kindly all the entrepreneurs, if you can sit at the audience to enjoy the show that we have planned for you.
May I please request all of you to be seated? May I please request all entrepreneurs to be seated? একটু আপনাদের সবাইকে বসতে অনুরোধ করব। Please be seated. Please be seated. Hey, follow me. আমরা এম্পাওয়ারিং উইমেন গ্লোবালি তরফে সবাইকে রেসপেক্ট করতে জানি। আমরা সবাই সবাইকে রেসপেক্ট করব এরকম একটা চিন্তাধারা আমরা রাখি। আমরা ফ্যাশন শো এত অ্যাপ্রিশিয়েট করেছি, এবার কালচারাল প্রোগ্রামটাও আমরা অ্যাপ্রিশিয়েট করব। আচ্ছা ছাত্রীরা, তোমাদের যদি গল্প করতে হয় তোমাদের বাইরে যাও। আচ্ছা সামনে বসো।
Okay, now we have an interesting event, and I think all of you will be very delighted to see that. So I'd request everyone to kindly gather in the audience and enjoy the show that we
Please
have
don't
prepared
talk.
for you.
Please don't talk when the dances are going on. It's a matter of 15 minutes. Please, we were respectful when the fashion show was going on. So please be respectful when the dance is going on.
Okay, next we have the cultural program that will be performed by the talented students of Calcutta University and Sister Nivedita University. These students have worked hard to put together a performance that highlights a rich cultural diversity and artistic expression that thrives in our academic communities. So get ready for a beautiful fusion of dance, music, and drama that will surely captivate and inspire. So first, let me call up the students of Sister Nivedita University for their wonderful, I think I'll take this on me to say it's a really wonderful dance performance.
This evening, the stage becomes a sanctuary of stories where the timeless artistry of Rudragni, the luminous classical dance team from Sister Nivedita University, whose name burns with the fiery spirit of transformation and creation. Through every elegant movement, the next generation of this renowned classical dance team will portray the myriads and facets of a woman's life, her struggles, her strength, her unyielding spirit, woven from diverse threads of the society. With the theme of women empowerment, let this performance be a poetic journey, a celebration of resilience and a call to honor the infinite power that resides within every woman. Let the rhythm inspire, the grace awaken, and the message endure in our hearts. Thank you.
में नारी बिना यही जगत आधार, नारी के हर रूप की महिमा वरी आभार। चांदनी सी सृष्टि में ही नारी बिना यही जगत आधार, नारी के हर रूप की महिमा वरी आभार। चांदनी सी उजली गुलाबों सी नरम, उसकी सूरत में बसा है हर धर्म। आंखों में काजल जैसे रात का समंदर, सुंदरता से खिलती है 100 चमन हर पहर। नारी की मुस्कान वो प्यारी किरण है जो परिवार के हर अंधकार को दूर कर दे और खुशियों की बूंदे बरसा दे।
చూస్తావే కన్నుల ఎదుటే నేనుంటే కాదంటున్నావే చూపే బంగారం ఆయనే శివల్లి మాటే మాటమాయనే చూపే బంగారం ఆయనే శివల్లి నువ్వే నరకమాయనే
एक नई सुबह या कहो उसे काली रात, एक नई सुबह या कहो उसे काली रात, किस कलम से दूं उसके शब्दों में जज्बात। नापाक किया था उसके चेहरे को तेजाब से उसने, नापाक किया था उसके चेहरे को तेजाब से उसने, झुलसा दिया था उसके आंखों को। ना जाने कितने ख्वाब थे उसमें, पिघला दिया था चेहरा उसका कि पास कोई ना आए। वो मेरी ना हो सकी तो और किसी की कैसे हो जाए।
समंदर सारी दुनिया मेरे अंदर, मेरे इशारे झुका दे सितारे। कोई चेहरा मिटा के और आंख से हटा के चंद चीटे उड़ा के जो गया, छुपाक से पहचान ले गया। छपाक से पहचान ले गया।
टुकड़ा टुकड़ा इन सांसों का सीने में है बिखरा पड़ा, सूखा हुआ समंदर है आंखों के अंदर, धड़कन चलेगी कैसे दिल में चुभे है खंजर, दिन काले काले लगे लगती है काली काली नैना, छिल गए 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 नैना।
चरित्र जब पवित्र है तो क्यों है ये दशा तेरी? चरित्र जब पवित्र है तो क्यों है ये दशा तेरी? ये पापियों को हक नहीं कि ले परीक्षा तेरी, कि ले परीक्षा तेरी। तो खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तो चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है। जला के भस्म कर उसे जो क्रूरता का जाल है, जला के भस्म कर उसे जो क्रूरता का जाल है। तू आरती की लौ नहीं, तू क्रोध की मशाल है, तू क्रोध की मशाल है। तो खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तो चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है, समय को भी तलाश है। चुनर उड़ा के ध्वज बना, गगन भी कब कपाएगा। अगर तेरी चुनर गिरी तो एक भूकंप आएगा, एक भूकंप आएगा। तो खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तो चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है, समय को भी तलाश है।
है प्रचंड बोल मस्तकों के झुंड, आज जंग की घड़ी की तुम हार दो। मान मान शान या की जान का हो दान, आज एक धनुष के बाण पे उतार दो। आरंभ है प्रचंड बोल मस्तकों के झुंड, आज जंग की घड़ी की तुम हार दो। मान मान शान या की जान का हो दान, आज एक धनुष के बाण पे उतार दो। आरंभ है प्रचंड।
सर जो उठेगा धड़ से कटेगा, कहाँ पे छिपेगा कहाँ पे बचेगा। उठा तो गिरेगा, गिरा तो चिरेगा, छिपा तो मिलेगा, मिला तो मारेगा। ये ज़लज़ला है, पूरे जोर पर चला है, इसमें दम है जो लड़ा है, कौन रह सका खड़ा है। सबसे अटल सबसे प्रबल शस्त्र रचित रक्त चरित सबसे प्रबल शस्त्र रचित
वो चुप थी अब तक, मगर चुप नहीं रहेगी। हर जुल्म के आगे अब झुकी नहीं रहेगी। हक की कहानी अब वो खुद लिखेगी। दुनिया के फलक पर नई रोशनी बनेगी। हाँ, हुआ था छेड़खानी मेरे साथ भी, पर मैं खुद को मौत के घाट ना उतारूंगी, क्योंकि मैं कलयुग की द्रौपदी हूँ। लाज बचाने श्री कृष्ण को ना बुलाऊंगी। मैं अबला नहीं, मैं नारी हूं, वही नारी।
I think saying phenomenal will also be less under this performance. I really believe that. And it's a strong representation of what women can be today. And standing here, being a woman, I feel so proud that yes, this is what we want from there to here. So let's not get more emotional into this performance. So thank you, the students of Sister Nivedita University. And I would just like to call upon all the participants on the stage. Shohini Chaudhary, Deborpita Sen, Disha Banerjee, Nilima Ruidas, Akanksha Chaudhary, Archita Shaha, Deboshmita Roy, Tanishi Sur, Priyashmita Chakraborty, Swaristha Datta, Shayantika Mitra, Tania Pramanik, Ipshita Pal, Boneshika Bosch,
Sahil, please on stage, please. Bipasha Roy, Ashna, STC sir. I can see my name.
Okay, the main pioneer behind this, Arghudip. Kindly please come up on the stage. A big round of applause for all of them for such an incredible performance. Hats off to SNU, feeling proud to be a part of SNU and sending hats off to SNU. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, sure, ma'am, everyone. See, this is the impression that you have created. Wow, SNU! Okay, 3 cheers for SNU. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! Yes, that's the power we have in SNU. I would request Pradeep Dr. Gupta sir to kindly come up on the stage, sir, please. We are missing you for long hours. আমি কি করব ওখানে? Thank you, everyone. No, we are overwhelming with emotions, but I would request participants to kindly sit on the stage. We have the programs of Calcutta University here. Not, they've reached. আমাকে তো ইয়ে বললো কঙ্কনা বললো পৌঁছে গেছে ঠিক আছে ওকে আপনি বলে Okay, now we have, kindly I'd request the performers actually to kindly sit in the audience and enjoy the other performances that we have.
স্ট্যান্ড বলেনি তো, বললো তো আমাকে সময় শুধু মাইক লাগবে হাতে।
Okay, now we have collection of songs and dances presentation from the students of University of Calcutta. So let us first enjoy their performances. So I would request them to kindly get themselves prepared for the performance.
It's working.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Okay. Okay. We are about to start. Hello, hello, hello. हम है औरत, इसीलिए छोटी उम्र से ही बावरा मन लेके सिर्फ सपना ही देखना सीखे हैं। बावरा मन देखने चला एक सपना, बावरा मन देखने चला एक सपना, बावरी सी मन की देखो बावरी है बातें, बावरी सी करवटें हैं, बावरी है सांसें, बावरी सी करवटों से निंदिया दूर भागे, बावरी से नैन झरोखों से बावरे नजारों को तकना बावरा मन देखने चला एक सपना। আমরা নারী, কিন্তু আজ ওই পিতৃতান্ত্রিক সমাজ আমাদের হাত পা বাঁধা শত চেষ্টা করলেও মন বাঁধতে পারে না, তাই আমরা স্বপ্ন দেখাও ছাড়ি না। আমার হাত বান্ধিবি পা বান্ধিবি মন বাঁধিবি কেমনে, আমার চোখ বান্ধিবি মুখ বান্ধিবি পরাণ বান্ধিবি কেমনে, আমার হাত বান্ধিবি পা বান্ধিবি মন বাঁধিবি কেমনে, আমার চোখ বান্ধিবি মুখ বান্ধিবি পরাণ বান্ধিবি কেমনে। No matter what, we are women. Every day we overpower thousands of obstacles and we become invincible. We are Shakti. गिरि नन्दिनि नन्दित मेदिनि विश्व विनोदिनि नन्दनुते गिरिवरविन्द शिरोदिनि वासिनि विष्णु विलासिनि जिष्णुनुते भगवति हे शिथि कण्ठ कुटुम्बिनि भूरि कुटुम्बिनि भूरि कृते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते सुरवरवर्षिणि दुर्धरधर्षिणि दुर्मुखमर्षिणि हर्षरते त्रिभुवनपोषिणि शङ्करतोषिणि किल्बिषमोषिणि घोषरते धनुजनिरोषिणि धृतिसुतरोषिणि दुर्मथशोषिणि सिन्धुसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते। Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so wonderful performance. For this, I would like to thank Atri, Oitri, Sriranjani, Shonalika, Sneha, Ayun, and Shomnath for this wonderful performance. A big round of applause for them. Next, we have a song and recitation by Shayon Kumar Gupta and Debojyoti Lahiri. So I would like to request them to kindly come up on the stage.
আমরা রবীন্দ্রনাথ ঠাকুরের একটি কবিতা শোনাবো পূরবী কাব্যগ্রন্থের শেষ বসন্ত। এই কবিতার সঙ্গেও এক নারী জড়িয়ে, রবীন্দ্রনাথের অন্যতম ইন্সপিরেশন ভিক্টোরিয়া ওকাম্পোর উদ্দেশ্যে এই কবিতা, এবং এই কবিতার সঙ্গে রবীন্দ্রনাথের প্রেম পর্যায়ের একটি গান বসন্তের অনুষঙ্গে, এই দুটি আমরা শোনাচ্ছি। আজিকার দিন না ফুরাতে, হবে মোর এ আশা পুরাতে, শুধু এবারের মতো বসন্তের ফুল যত যাব মোরা দুজনে কুড়াতে, তোমার কানন তলে ফাল্গুন আসিবে বারংবার, তাহারি একটি শুধু মাগি আমি দুয়ারে তাম তোমার। বেলা কবে গিয়েছে বৃথাই, এতকাল ভুলেছিল তাই, হঠাৎ তোমার চোখে দেখিয়াছি সন্ধ্যালোকে, আমার সময় আর নাই। তাই আমি একে একে গণিতেছি কৃপণের সম, ব্যাকুল সংকোচ ভরে বসন্ত শেষের দিন মম।
বারোটা পেয়েছি মনে মনে, গগনে গগনে তব নিঃশ্বাস পরশনে, এসেছ অদেখা বন্ধু, দক্ষিণ সমীরণে বারোটা পেয়েছি মনে মনে। কেন বঞ্চনা করো মোরে, কেন বাঁধো অদৃশ্য ডোরে, কেন বঞ্চনা করো মোরে, কেন বাঁধো অদৃশ্য ডোরে। দেখা দাও দেখা দাও দেখা দাও, দেহ মন ভরে মম নিকুঞ্জ বনে, বারোটা পেয়েছি মনে মনে।
ভয় রাখিও না তুমি মনে, তোমার বিকচ ফুল বনে, দেরি করিব না মিছে, ফিরে চাহিব না পিছে, দিন শেষে বিদায়ের ক্ষণে। যাব না তোমার চোখে আখি জল পাবো আশা করি, রাখিবারে চিরদিন স্মৃতিরে বেদনা রসে ভরি। ফিরিয়া যেও না, শোনো শোনো, সূর্য অস্ত যায়নি এখনো, সময় রয়েছে বাকি, সময়ের দিতে ফাঁকি, ভাবনা রেখো না মনে কোনো। পাতার আড়াল হতে বিকালের আলোটুকু এসে, আরো কিছুক্ষণ তরে ঝলুক তোমার কালো কেশে।
দেখা দাও চম্পকের অঙ্গনে, দেখা দাও কিংশুকে কাঞ্চনে, কেন শুধু বাঁশরীর সুরে ভুলাইলো যাও দূরে, কেন শুধু বাঁশরীর সুরে ভুলাইলো যাও দূরে। যৌবন উৎসবে ধরা দাও ধরা দাও ধরা দাও, দৃষ্টির বন্ধনে এসেছো অদেখা বন্ধু, দক্ষিণ সমীর
পেয়েছি মনে মনে। হাসিও মধুর উচ্চ হাসে, অকারণ নির্মম উল্লাসে, বনসরসীর তীরে ভীরু কাঠ বিড়ালিরে সহসা চকিত করো ত্রাসে। ভুলে যাওয়া কথাগুলি কানে কানে করায় স্মরণ, দেব না মন্থর করি ওই তব চঞ্চল চরণ। তারপরে যেও তুমি চলে, ঝরা পাতা দ্রুত পদে তোলে, নিড়ে ফেরা পাখি যবে অস্ফুট কাকলি রবে, দিনান্তেরে ক্ষুব্ধ করি তোলে। বেণুবন ছায়া ঘন সন্ধ্যায় তোমার ছবি দূরে, মিলাইবে গোধূলির বাঁশরীর সর্বশেষ সুরে। রাত্রি যবে হবে অন্ধকার, বাতায়নে বসিও তোমার, সব ছেড়ে যাব প্রিয়ে সম্মুখের পথ দিয়ে, ফিরে দেখা হবে না তো আর। ফেলে দিও ভোরে গাঁথা মল্লিকার ম্লান মালাখানি, সেই হবে স্পর্শ তব, সেই হবে বিদায়ের বাণী।
এসেছো অদেখা বন্ধু, দক্ষিণ সমীরণে বারতা পেয়েছি মনে মনে।
থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thank you for this wonderful performance. I would now like to request Patolika Bhattacharya to kindly come up on the stage and speak 2 minutes for the audience.
I'll be very brief. I'll be very brief. As I stand here today, it feels unreal to me that this journey, which began as a nomination mail from the Vice Chancellor, and to see all these different institutions represented here, the previous EWG team, the previous entrepreneurs, and their performance, everything is surreal today as I watch. And it seems how everything came together, the past, the present, the future seems to converge all together. And I have a very, very warm feeling about what lies ahead. I've been walking through the entire day like in a dream and seeing so many different geographic locations we are located, how much coordination, how much intention happens when we have Brazil, India, and the United States coming together, universities from these different places coming together, and with the good intention of women empowerment, this kind of output is generated. So a very big thank you to the entire EWG team across the universities, and to all the people, all the stakeholders who have been involved, and whose good intentions can only generate something so beautiful as we witnessed today. Thank you. I feel proud to be associated with you.
Okay, thank you everyone present out here, the dignitaries, the speakers, the chairpersons who actually carved out time from their hectic schedules to be with us here today. So thank you everyone, and with this, I think we'll be retiring for day one. We hope to meet you all tomorrow again on day two with new zeal and enthusiasm. So thank you very much for bearing with us. Thank you all. And I would like to request the EWG team of SNU to kindly come up on the stage for a group photograph. I think we deserve that. All the volunteers and the team members, please. So interested in picking up a picture. Come on, come on. Come. The entire... All the volunteers of SNU EWG team, come up on the stage and line up. We don't have much time. I would like to request Professor Mary, Professor Shormishta, and Professor Arjita, please kindly come up on the stage for a picture, group picture, kindly, ma'am. Mr. Anush Sharma also. Sir, please come up. Let us have you on the stage for the group photograph. Fala, ma'am. Isha. Isha, she's charging herself. Yes, all the delegates, please come. It's a big opportunity for all of us. We'll be meeting tomorrow. All the participants will be coming up here at 10:30 a.m. So